Ahoy there, my name's Beth and this is the story of how I renovated my 1904 Dutch sailing barge. This week, the arrival of the ply. So I've cleared a kind of path through the boat so we can store a load of the ply, which is arriving this morning. It's going to be a bit of a schlep to get it all off the van and into the boat, but I've got my gloves. Wow, well that's a lot of ply carried in. It was 21 sheets of the 18mm ply and then 50 sheets of the 9mm ply. This is twice as much of the 9mm ply, so it's quite heavy. A neighbour, Paul, helped me, and then we had some help from two of the lads that work here. They came and give us a hand lifting it all up from the pallets. And it's all stored on board now, so I now live with a load of ply on the boat. So yeah, it'll be okay. So yeah, I need to, well, I've got the wood now that I can start to line out the forward section, and so I bought it all, or at least I've loaded it all in the aft section, so I can start kind of boarding out the forward section, and then I can start moving junk to the forward section, and then I can keep going through. So yeah, it's a good place to be. I'm really happy with where we are, and yeah, so I can start actually doing the flooring. This is my biggest expense at the moment, and so I was really keen to get that bought, and then now, so it's here. So yeah, so we'll be a bit lopsided for a couple of weeks until we get it all fitted. Last week we were working on the hatch surround as well, and I just filled some of the last holes, so I needed to give that a good sand down and then I could varnish it. And then that was that project finished. This will be the view from my bed. This is the removable glazing pane that I made. It is just designed to cut down condensation in the winter. I forgot to film it, but I varnished it later on that evening and I'm really pleased with how it's turned out. Also this week I've been working on the steel subfloor. The first job was to give it a zinc primer undercoat, and that just protects all of the raw metal. I know I'm getting some paint in the bilges here, but don't worry, I'm going to paint all of this. If you remember, the last couple of weeks I've been talking about how I'm constructing this. It was going to be welded together, but then for a few reasons, including the welder's availability, I decided to go with bolting it together. One of the reasons I was going to bolt it to the hull was so that I don't damage the paint, but I've decided to bolt it all together. It's something that I can do myself. This little tube is thread lock, and it just makes sure that the bolts don't rattle open over time. Well, I'm really pleased with that. So I've just done the entire thing in zinc primer, and then I am going to paint it, but it doesn't need to be painted like really a lot, and we can paint it in situ. So we're going to paint it. I'm going to paint it with 2-pack epoxy when I do the rest of the bilges there, just to tidy it all up. So yeah, that can be done before the boards come in, and I've got some 2-pack paint, so I'll give it a quick going over before I put the floor down. But yeah, I'm really pleased with how it's looking. It's really solid. It's really solid and it's not moving anywhere. So what I was going to do as well is I was going to, in this angled piece that runs all the way down, I was going to drill through and bolt it to this rib that runs up and down the hole. But I've decided not to do that because if I bolt it to the hull, it's going to fix this rib to that. And if this moves, but because it heats up and cools down, it's going to start to pull on this bit here. And to be honest, I don't want it there being kind of pulled in and out all the time. So instead, the floor is actually semi-floating. It's attached, it's bolted to this end, but the other end, it's just got a lip and it's just sitting over the top of that rib. So if it does move around a bit, it's got somewhere to move. And it's going to be kind of held down with the ply in the bed anyway. So it's not going to go anywhere, but it means I'm deciding not to bolt. It's super strong anyway. It's not going to go anywhere. I don't need to do it. And if I don't need to do it, I'm not going to do it, because if I do something I don't need to do, it might introduce some other problem, like I say, if it moves ultimately. And also, it means that I'm not doing too much to the original hull. I'm not drilling holes through sort of 120-year-old steel, which I don't really want to do if I can get away with it. So I'm just going to leave it on top, so it's quite a sympathetic piece of extra structure, if you like. So the bow is now absolutely full of sheets of plywood, and it's all on the port side, so actually there's a slight lean to port outside. I've just noticed there was a slight lean to starboard before because most of the other stuff is on that side, but yeah, we're leaning to port a little bit, which means that I really need to get cracking and get all this stuff installed. So I'm going to start that next week, but next week I'm off work for 3 weeks. So yeah, we're going to get as much done as we possibly can, and hopefully in a couple of weeks' time we're going to have a little working party as well, which will be really great. So yeah, I hope you're available in the next couple of weeks to join me for that. But again, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Basil, parsley, coriander, mint, thyme, rosemary, sage, tarragon, lovage.